Good morning. It is Friday already. Can you believe that? We're in October the 11th, nearing the halfway point of the month before long. We're getting there, aren't we? Cooler today. We start today out at 53. Our high should be somewhere around 83. So we got a 20-degree difference on the way. We got a lot of headlines that are shaping America that we're going to share with you. Weather, things that are important to us as we begin our weekend. A lot happening also, as we learned yesterday. Downtown Meridian will be a busy place, from car shows to the Bud and Burgers and so many more events that are taking place. We'll tell you all where it will happen coming up at 7 o'clock when we get into the local events that are happening. How do you feel? Did you get out and get a chance to see the sky last night? Was that not beautiful? We got tons and tons of pictures. A lot of them I haven't even gotten up yet. But boy, it sure was pretty. I hope you've looked at what we've got posted so far. If not, drop yours in the comments there so everybody else can see what you have as well. We'll be right back. We got to go now out to Collinsville as they prepare to give us the word of the day. Here's Brother Ben.
Have you ever been accused of having a hard head? My daddy used to tell me, son, you've got a head like a goat. You know, life is hard for a hard-headed person because they typically have to learn the hard way, which involves pain typically. Proverbs 21:11 says it this way: when a scoffer is punished, the simple becomes wise. You see, the scoffer, the one who laughs at and mocks sound advice, soon finds out that they should have listened. They find out the hard way. When you were a kid, it usually involved getting your butt busted. Man, didn't that hurt? Somebody once said a hard head makes for a soft behind. But when you're young, a spanking is often what it takes to make the simple wise. However, as an adult, it takes other forms. God doesn't pick you up and bust your bottom. No, He disciplines you in other ways. Sometimes we wish He would just spank us, but whether it's that bad investment you were warned against, or hanging around with the person you were told was no good, or doing what you know you should never do, God has a way of wearing out your proverbial behind without ever laying a hand on you. God disciplines those He loves, and one way or another, He will get through that thick skull of yours. And often that comes with a lot of pain. The wise person, however, avoids all that pain by listening the first time. That same proverb, Proverbs 21:11, goes on to say, when a wise man is instructed, he gains knowledge. In other words, the wise man doesn't scoff at instruction. He listens, learns, does the wise thing, the thing he was told to do. So, beloved, which will it be? Listen or scoff? Gain knowledge or gain pain? God loves you enough to do whatever it takes to make you wiser. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. Again, church doors will open up Sunday morning around 10:15 for services. Hope you can make it out if you don't have a church of your own. You ever notice the sign that's behind Brother Ben there? Enjoy the small things in life today, because one day they will be the big things. Oh, how true that is. Takes some of us a little bit longer to realize that. So true. Enjoy those moments, because life is quick. You'll realize that one day also. As we look to airports across Florida this morning, Tampa should be opening up this morning is what is expected. Sarasota will not open today. I think there's another one, if I am not mistaken, that will be closed today also. As we glance back on this, Tampa's open, Sarasota is closed, and Orlando, will be commercial live air flights. Looks like it is also closed at that point. Hard to get in and out until everything is cleaned up. Your best bet if you're in Florida is to go to Tampa is what we're looking there if you've got to get out. And I'm sure it's going to be limited, even though some portions of it are open. Still devastation as we look at everything across Florida and what we've been giving here. We will get to how many deaths there are. I've got that list somewhere. It's a lot fewer than I expected at this point. I think it's 273 that we've got, Helene. We've got on her a lot less what we've got clocked so far here. It looks like we've got a trial date if you're going to be watching this. So many people are glued to the TV trials. Puff Daddy, his has been slated now for May the 5th. If you want to watch a trial, I'm sure it's going to be huge. There's a lot of names that are going to be tied with this. This, I don't know that we've ever had this in Mississippi. It could be, and I just can't remember. I've often seen it in other states. I know we've had people throw rocks but maybe not a death in our state. California, a third person has died from a rock being thrown through a windshield. It was a female. Y'all got to realize just how fast a car is moving and a rock is thrown, whether it's from a bridge or overpass. That we had some cinder blocks thrown here one time. No serious injuries that resulted in death, but wow. This is what I've gotten. I mentioned it a moment ago. I couldn't get it quickly enough. So far, I believe, tallied 15 fatalities tied to the latest Milton hurricane. Now, there could be more, and I just don't know it. Slowly, information is starting to come in on all of this. What we have booked at this point is 38 confirmed tornadoes struck, with 126 tornado warnings were issued during this. That was a heap of them. That's a lot, though, 38 tornadoes. It's a wonder we don't have tons and tons of more loss of life. Have y'all seen this? Talk about miracles, and I see somewhere a endorsement deal coming. The guy that was saved off the coast of Florida, he was floating on a cooler for hours. Coast Guard couldn't get to him. He held on to his cooler and floated for hours upon hours. After it all cleared, they went out and got him in, lowered the chain from the helicopter and picked him up. There is definitely going to be some form of endorsement deal coming for him and that cooler, whatever brand it was.
Is that Lieutenant Dan?
No, that's a different guy. Lieutenant Dan made it also, but this is a different guy. Lieutenant Dan made it, as a matter of fact. He answered by text that said, "I'm okay." But he stayed on the boat. God protects those who can't protect themselves sometimes. That's all I can tell you about that. I don't. And the reason they called him Lieutenant Dan, if I am not mistaken, he was missing. He was one leg. He had one lost, and he stayed on his boat all through that. Major things is we have power crews from here. We have different crews headed to these different places hit by hurricane. Shortage of gasoline. The places that did have gas are running out at this point. It's going to take several days to where they can even get trucks in, roads and things to get this replenished. Be patient. I know it's tough if you're there, especially if you're there. It's kind of tough there. They have a hunt out wanted for someone, a sea lion. Have y'all seen this? Was shot and killed on the beach in California. They've put out an all points bulletin and got a reward out for whoever did it. I don't know if they'll catch or not, but no sense in things of that nature there. We did have, and I've been to this area, Deer Park, Texas. This is going to be near Houston is where this is. 2 people have died after a chemical plant. There was a leak. 2 people have died there. It's a big industrious part of Houston area there. But 2 people have died. 35 others were checked out at a hospital. Fisher-Price, do you have any of this stuff? They're recalling a baby swing, about 2 million of them. Ooh. I will see if what we can call this thing. It's the Fisher-Price Snugna, S-N-U-G-A. Includes all models. Infants between 1 and 3 months old. It's like a little swing thing is what this is with the timer on top. You know what I'm talking about? I think a lot of people have used those, but this one being recalled there as we go to look at what they're doing. Odie's a diver. I've never done this. We have 2 Navy SEALs. This happened in January, and they have finally ruled what happened to them. 2 divers, they were Navy SEALs, were in an operation to take something down, and they drowned quickly. They didn't know why. After investigations of months and months, the equipment was too heavy, and when they jumped in the water, they sunk. I didn't know that could happen. Wow, Navy SEALs on top of this. These guys were trained beyond training, and it was just too much weight with whatever mission they were in the middle of. And, of course, they're not going to tell us exactly what they were carrying, but it was too much for them when they hit the water. That's tough there. We have a man, as we go back to Hurricane Helene. Can y'all imagine this? 11 family members lost total. As we know, this thing hit communities in the Carolinas where families were close-knit and they lived in areas together. 11 family members passed away. Mexico City. I'm telling you, there's nothing on an ad that's ever entice me to go, wow, I want to go to Mexico. Nope, not a cruise ship, nothing. Why? Well, there's things that go on there. Here's a prime example there of the folks, lime growers. You know, lime, they have to get help from the federal government because the cartel is sort of like, well, forcing them to give portions of their money to them. The cartel is tough folks down there. The only problem when you call law in places like this, half of the time they are also tied to the cartel. Live there at your own risk, you might say. Boy, it sure makes America feel like a great place to be, doesn't it? Does me. That's a few of the headlines that are shaping America. We got a lot more. That girl has flown in. She's getting ready for today. I see her in the distance this morning. She's preparing. We hadn't seen Greg yet. Your tale is he left home at around 11:30 last night, headed this direction. I think he may have stopped at a rest area along the way.
He went to get something to eat.
Went to get something to eat? Yeah. We'll be right back as we get this morning underway.
When I was elected to the state Senate 9 years ago, my goal was to bring a new generation of conservative leadership to the Capitol to get things done. I'm Mississippi Supreme Court to do the same thing. I've written legislation to lower taxes and reduce regulations on farmers, manufacturers, and other businesses in Mississippi. On the Supreme Court, I'll use my experience and conservative values to always interpret the law, not to rewrite it or bend the rules for anyone.
When it's time to store something, think Store Local Storage. It's conveniently located next to Northeast Park, and it's gated. On top of that, it's climate control, so no matter the season, it'll protect your things. 24-hour security, a covered loading dock, fire sprinklers, and you can choose the storage unit that suits your needs. From a 5x5 all the way up to a 10x30, you choose the space that you need. Call Store Local Storage today at 601-490-1618, Highway 39 North, Meridian.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Welcome back there. EMEPA helps us out every day. Big welcome to Charles joining us from Denton, Texas this morning. Going to be that's due north of Dallas, if I'm not mistaken there. Stevie joining us all the way from Nash Vegas this morning. You know, got so many people there. It's scary there on, what is it, I-40? Oof, that loop around town. Serious business there. Let's look at our record highs and record lows as we go back to 19. Boy, this day just didn't shake. It must have been a hot year. It was 90 degrees on this date back in 19. Our record low set before I came along back in 64. It was 34 today. Kind of a chilly sort of day. Not bad this morning, though. 53 as you're waking up. As we look at our outlook, it will hit 83, and it'll stay that way all the way to Columbus. Past Mississippi State Bulldogs, across back over to Greenwood. It gets a little warmer there. All down the river, we should see 86 today. Warm weather if you're going to be out fishing or whatever it is there at the river. As we go east into Bama, 82 into Demopolis, we should see 82 right around there, around Livingston. As we get to Birmingham, cooler at 79. Look at Anniston, 76. Even Auburn, Alabama this morning at 75. Perfect weather. You can't beat that. Now, as we look to this, we've got to pay attention to this early next week of the chance of fire danger. Wow, look at that. We could see this happening there. It's going to start in northern portions of Lauderdale County, go north across the state of Mississippi. Be careful with this, of what you burn, what you do. It's dry. We have not, no, there's no burn bans here, but it doesn't change the fact that it's still dry out there. As we look at this, kind of normal in the western side of Mississippi, as you'll see here in East Mississippi, cooler, and it'll stay that way all the way across. Here's our outlook for today, a 7-day outlook, 83 today. We'll get back up to 84 tomorrow, and even warmer on Sunday with a high of 88. We're back down to about 85 on Monday, and then we get into that 70-degree weather beginning on Tuesday. Look at this, 69 for a high on Wednesday. You may have to get out a jacket. Have mercy. As we look all the way toward the 20th, we'll have 70s, and by then we'll get back to one day of 80 and stay in those upper 70s, anywhere from 75 to 80. Not bad at all. Our biggest chance of rain on the books at this point rolls in on Tuesday, October the 22nd. Don't jump ahead of the ballgame. It's only a 32% chance.
Plant your grass.
Plant your grass, because it's, I don't know what to tell you about that. If you hadn't planted yet,
Don't.
yeah, it's really no reason to at this point, is it? No chances of rain. It's supposed to be November. As we look to our fishing forecast this morning, brought to you by our friends at J&J Auto Sales, look at our major time today. 7:25 this morning is where you need to be on the creek bank, throwing that hook, worm and all. It'll be good to about 9:30. Minor time this afternoon around 3:30, and it's going to be after dark for anything else. So your best times is this morning, and then a slight chance of good fishing there in the afternoon around 3. Calm wind becoming east-northeast around 5 miles an hour is what is projected. Now, what happens when it comes to deer hunting? Well, my friends at Wimberley Taxidermy, they tell us, here it is, major time this morning starts at about, right now, about 10 minutes ago. You should have already been in the woods. 6:37 till about 8:40 this morning should be your prime time to hunt. Your next times after dark won't do you any good. You'll get a minor time this afternoon. If you get there about 2:15, should get good around 2:30 is what we're expecting until 3:30. You may have to take off early from work. Ask for a doctor's excuse or something to get to the woods. Good luck. That's the average day. Sunrise is at 6:56. We're a few minutes away from that. Sunset will happen around 6:25 this afternoon. That's what we've got laid out. Let's go back and look at radar. I hadn't brought that up. It's pretty clear. Not much going on.
Wow.
There you go. Absolutely nothing in the state of Mississippi. Greg goes, why look at it? Well, we do have a little fog over near Gadsden, Chattanooga, if you're there. Kind of hard to see there. Dublin, Georgia has some, but always when you get into this eastern Tennessee, Knoxville area, can't see your hand in front of yourself, and always a little bit of fog up near Roanoke and those areas there in Asheville. As we look at the big pitch here, we got fog around Dallas. Yeah, as we were looking at that a minute ago of Denton, Texas, you should have some there. San Antone, if you're going to go due south, I wish y'all luck on that interstate. It always scares me. Everybody trying to go the same direction. All the way down to Corpus Christi in those areas. Houston, a lot of fog where it's 8 to 10 lanes of traffic. Those folks are just angry because they're there. Bless them. If you live in a small town USA, be thankful that you pull up to a stop sign and you go, hey, you go first. Don't happen like that in them big cities. Whew. Enjoy the small things in life. I tried to. We're going to be back live in just a moment. We've got Julia. Greg has made it in. Got that lunch packed. He made it out after all. We'll tell you all the going-ons that happened yesterday through our community. What's going to happen this weekend also. That's up and coming at the Scotty Ray Report. Join us, won't you? I certainly hope you do. We'll be right back with everything here at the Scotty Ray Report.